Hello, it's Kanisha, and we are back again. Technically, we're kind of picking up. So, no, I didn't let you say you.
I'm Sylvia. Welcome to Women Work Your Faith. If this is your first time joining us, we're two Christian women who love the Lord and want to help you apply your faith to your day-to-day life. Today, we are doing a brief Bible study on a popular story in the book of Acts, and we are going to help make it applicable to modern times. Check us out.
So, in Acts, Luke tells us a story of when Paul and Silas were in a town. They were walking through, and there was this girl with an unclean spirit. And I think he called it
Divination?
Yes. And she was following them around. And at this point, Paul was like, all right now, okay, loose her. He ain't say loose her, but if y'all know about the church, spirit did loose her. Okay. So he rebuked the spirit that was in her and caused it to go. Well, the people who was using this woman were not pleased. Mm-hmm. So he got rid of their moneymaker because they was using her to make profit they were using her for profit. Sorry, I got tongue-tied. But they were using her for a profit. And so when he helped her by delivering her of that spirit, it cost them money. So in the spirit, Paul rebuked the spirit that was working in her of divination, and then in the natural, they was like, hold on, that's my money. What you doing? Mm-hmm. I got you. They took him to the courts, and they was like, you know what? We upset. They got on board with them. Y'all upset. We upset too. Strip them down, beat them, and put them in jail. And don't just put them in jail. Put them somewhere where they're gonna be locked up tight, because we want it done right. They ain't getting out. They lick back. They got their lick back plus some more.
It started at 2. You know, here he wasn't minding his business, and now we all the way to 10. And it escalates very quickly when people are operating in the flesh and they don't understand that they are really being used as by the enemy, and we'll talk about that.
But I mean that really is a good example, because it just started with her following them around. And this goes back to things working in the spirit that we don't see, because they were beaten, yes, they were put in prison, and a guard was set over them. But despite all of that, okay, now let's just wrap our minds around it. You done got beat and put in prison for rebuking the spirit in somebody. Talk about feeling defeated and discouraged.
And some of us, as we work in our flesh, we'll be like, I should let that spirit have them.
I know. I should have just been like, girl, whatever. But when they get to jail, then they in prison, you know what they doing? Praying and singing.
Mm-hmm. Praising the Lord.
This goes against everything that, we would say we would do. But they in the prison praying and singing. And what happens? The prison doors are opened. So we got something else. This is more of, what's going on in the natural affecting what's going on in the spirit. Prison doors open. The guard who was set over them, look, they were mad. The guard knew how mad they were. They beat them and put them in the inner jail. We want to make sure they wrapped up tight. Mm-hmm. You have one job. One job.
Keep them in there.
So the doors, they open up, and he's like, oh my goodness, this guard's thinking with her, I'm just going to end it all. Let me take my life, because they going to be mad at me. I messed up. Yeah. And then here comes Paul. And this is another instance. Look, the doors is open. You ready, Sylvia? I'm gone.
Free.
He goes to him and says, we still hurt. Don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt yourself. We still hurt.
We every man for themselves.
I'm gone. But no, even then, he says, we still hurt. Don't hurt yourself. And from this, from this girl following them around town. Now you have a man who's getting ready to kill himself because he couldn't keep his one job. And Paul says, don't do it. The guard takes note of how God is orchestrating this and working this. He takes them to his household, and here they breaking bread and all that. Guess what? He gets saved, and not only does he get saved, his family gets saved. And this all started from this annoying girl who was following them around town that got a spirit rebuked out of her. Like, in that moment, you don't see everything else that's connected to that. And in the moment, you don't even see how God is magnified.
Yes.
Through that whole situation that was not pleasurable for Paul. I didn't got beat and put in jail. Jesus, Lord, help God.
I didn't got harassed in the street.
Harassed in the street.
Arrested. Beaten. Put in jail. Had to stay all night. It shows that Paul was in a position to educate us on how to work in the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Because he didn't look at it with his fleshly eyes and say, this situation's jacked up, I quit.
It's just too much.
I'm going home. I'm good. Because Paul was good before he met Jesus. He was doing everything right according to the law. He could have said, you know what, I'm going back to the old way. I tried it. It's not gonna work. But he decided to follow after the Spirit. And that's why his situation was a success in ministering and teaching more people about Christ.
Mm-hmm.
I can say now, from what I've learned in the Word and what I've learned in my life, that God is working for my good. And not just my good all by myself, but the good. Mm-hmm. For them and the people around me.
Those that love him.
Mm-hmm. Because
Ooh, look at you. Thank you, Jesus. Work for the Lord, he give you $25.
Because she know him to be a provider. I was walking the dog one day and he kept jerking on his leash and I was getting mad. And I was like, you don't come on up, I'm trying to walk. You pulling on my little dog. Why are you jerking me around? And it was evening time, so it's kind of dark. Mm-hmm. He kept pulling and trying to go get something, and I was like, oh. And so I turned. He went right to $20 in the street.
The Lord will provide.
Okay. So some of these disruptions, some of these things we don't like. It's the Lord.
Just working it out for you. Just go. Just put your hand in your pocket. You might find
you
something
gotta
like
know
I did.
when to go with what he say do.